So, Nick Wright realized that last time his tiers were so bad, he had to redo them already. Welcome, football fans. It's Mitch here, back with another NFL reaction video. And in this video, we're back already with another Nick's tiers, ranking every NFL team from the worst to the best, according to none other than Nick Wright. And as always, I'm here to represent the average football fan. I'm here to represent all of my jabronis and call out Nick Wright and tear his tiers apart. So if you're ready, Gronk, spike the like button and subscribe to the channel for more NFL reactions just like this. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on Nick's tiers and whether you agree with me or disagree with me, agree with Nick or disagree with Nick, and where the most underrated and overrated teams are on his rankings. Okay, let's get to it. Let's go. And guys, as always, I do recommend, please, it does really help the channel. Okay, let's go, Nick.
So here's the deal. The committee had to do some self-scouting. Because anytime we're going to have a new tiers, when there hasn't been massive new news since the last one. Yes, Stephon Diggs did sign earlier today, and we worked that in, by the way. We got that late break.
Nice.
And, you know, a few injuries there, here and there, but nothing to really shake it up. So we basically said, what did we potentially get wrong last time in the tiers? What could we manicure and adjust? So, directionally, they're similar to last week.
He's saying, my tiers sucked. I'm sorry. We're going to redo them. So we were right last time. Yeah, Nick, they sucked, bro.
With some significant adjustments. Most notably,
horrible.
Large group. This is the group of deep sleepers.
Okay, so he's going to go with some new names. Deep sleepers. Again, the names of the tiers are maybe the best part. These are, in other words, the worst teams in the NFL. Miami, Cleveland, Arizona, the Jets, the Raiders, and the Titans. Again, I don't think he's really missing any team here. There is one, again, and I know that there were a couple Falcons fans that were upset with me. But personally, if you're going to start Tua turn the ball over, I mean, come on, bro. What do you expect? Ask Dolphins fans. If you guys really think that you don't belong in the bottom tier, if you're starting Tua, good luck. Okay, but I will say this. Yes, Nick, this is your best tier. Probably the easiest one to get right. I will say Tennessee and the Raiders have a little bit of potential. Tennessee, they had a revamping of their roster this offseason. A revamping of their coaching staff, right? They got now Brian Daboll, a competent offensive coordinator and a former head coach, along with Robert Saleh to run the defense. I like that combination, along with Cam Ward in year 2, Carnell Tate with Calvin Ridley and Wan'Dale Robinson. Pretty good receiving core. Still don't like the offensive line. Running backs are good enough. I love their pass rush. Suspect secondary, back end of their defense, but I do feel like Tennessee is the team in this tier that could prove Nick wrong. The Raiders, they do have their rookie quarterback or Kirk Cousins, but they do have a rookie coach that I like in Clint Kubiak. They still got Max Crosby. They did upgrade their linebacking core. Is it possible that with Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, they could be better than people expect? Sure, but they're in a really difficult division. It's hard to imagine them being better than 4th in their division. The Jets, I think, will be slightly better than terrible because they just put so much investment and veterans in free agency like Minka Fitzpatrick and Onyemata and Demario Davis. Like, how are you going to sign and trade for all these players and still suck? On top of having like a pretty young and good, impressive offensive line, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, multiple first-round pick talents at tight end, wide receiver. Like, I don't know how the Jets, unless Geno is just that awful, like a repeat of last year, and Aaron Glenn is absolutely the worst coach in football and beyond bad, that the Jets could be like as bad as the last couple of years. I feel like they should be a little bit better. Now, clearly the Cardinals are probably last in their division because they have Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. They don't have a long-term solution there, really. It's not Carson Beck. And honestly, they're in the toughest division in football with 3 playoff teams from last year, 3 NFC contenders. They're just stuck at the bottom, even if we do like some of their players like Trey McBride and Jeremiah Love and etc. And they've improved their offensive line. The Cleveland Browns don't have a quarterback. It's not Shador. I'm sorry, Shador stands. It's not him. It's damn sure not Deshaun Watson. And now they lost Myles Garrett, so they're going nowhere. And the Miami Dolphins have the least talented roster in all of football. I like Malik Willis, but there's only so much one man can do with no receiving core. I mean, Greg Dulcich is your tight end. So I look at the Miami Dolphins and, yeah, worst team in the league. I do agree with this tier, except I'd probably have Tennessee above, like, Atlanta. I'm not going to lie about that, but that's just me.
And here's what I mean. We always talk about, there's 5 new teams to the playoffs. And so people are like, okay, well, a new team could be the Ravens. A new team could be the Lions. A new team could be the Chiefs. And then people will be like, well, and there'll be, there's a sleeper team.
I don't think there's anyone here that can make the playoffs. The only one is Tennessee. It's the only one I see a world where that could happen. But
team. And like, so this year, a lot of people are picking the Giants, whose over-under's 8 wins or something. Like,
yeah.
None of those teams are deep sleepers, meaning a team that if they made it, you're like, oh my God, great. They made the playoffs. Like the Texans, CJ Stroud's rookie year. People thought they're going to be the worst team in the league. They make the playoffs. Like, these are the only 6 teams that qualify as, oh my God, they made the playoffs. So if there's going to be an, oh my God, they made the playoffs team, it's one of these 6 teams.
Titans.
It's deep sleep. Maybe.
Are they also like,
what?
No chance they're making?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Honestly, I think Miami, no chance. Cleveland, no chance. Arizona, no chance. I'd give the Jets, Raiders, and Titans slightly more chance. I think Titans by far have the greatest chance because their division is somewhat open. I think the Texans are definitely the best team in the division, but if CJ plays bad, then there's an opening.
It all feels like
only team I could even think would be the Titans. And that would be a shock.
That's why deep sleep.
That's the only team.
So
take a look at Jacoby Brissett's numbers in the end of the year.
The Cardinals.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but that
Geno,
division?
Jets and Geno. Again, that's why they're the only oh my God team.
The Jets would probably be second.
Okay.
The more attractive but more vapid cousin of deep sleepers, shallow sleepers.
Yeah.
This is like filling out multiple merch matches.
Okay, the Saints should be higher. The Giants, I think this is a fair tier for them. The Panthers, a little bit disrespectful. The Falcons, like I said, I think they should be in the bottom tier. I'd have the Titans above them. And the Colts fair. Here's the thing. The Colts, I respect their coaching staff, and if Daniel Jones plays like he did last year, they could still be a team that's in the mix, but I don't really love their pass rush. I think they have holes in their secondary. Their linebacking core is turned over pretty much completely. Their offense, like strong offensive line, strong run game, Ty Warren, but their receiving core with a quarterback coming off a major injury, I don't know. Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, I like them, but they're not super impressive. The Panthers, I think it's a little disrespectful for what they accomplished last year. Also combining with what they did this offseason. Like, if you look at adding Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips to a playoff team last year and really not losing much, you would think that this team would get better. Here's the thing. They play a first place schedule. They're already getting injured. They've already lost a high profile prospect to their defense, multiple tackles. So I do think the Panthers are definitely coming back down to earth this year, along with Bryce Young probably just not proving he's not the guy. Right? But I love Tet McMillan. Brooks, maybe he could have a breakout year on offense with them. And then defensively, maybe they are better. with the pickups that they did have. But it very well could be a team that they just play stronger competition, stiffer schedule, and it really hurts them. The Giants, I could see a viable sleeper case because if Jackson Dart does break out with the new weapons he has, Malik Neighbors returning, Isaiah Likely, the new coach in John Harbaugh to stabilize the entire culture of the team, and their defense finally having a little bit of a breakout there with guys like Burns and Carter and Reese. You could see it. But my problem is I feel like I still prefer the Eagles over the Giants, although it isn't impossible for me to see the Giants being better. I am on the Cowboys bandwagon this year, and I just don't know about Jackson Dart. Like, Jackson Dart, I think, was a fun rookie quarterback, but I think he is being steamed a little bit too much. Like, I think his hype is beyond what he produced last year. There is a viable step he could take forward, but we'll see. Like, I'm not a big Cam Scatabo guy. I think a lot of this comes from just being in New York. And I think John Harbaugh, that really adds, like, people think it's like Mike Vrabel from last year. Maybe it's possible. Like, I wouldn't rule it out. I think the Saints are a lot more likely when it comes to Tyler Shuck's ascension, to Kellen Moore, along with Tyler Shuck ascending, in year 2, with his play calling, with the young offensive line, 2 young tackles, first-round picks, Chris Olave with Jordan Tyson, Travis Etienne with Alvin Kamara. I could very much see how the Saints are that sleeper that everyone loves and should ascend. Like, if the Saints do not compete for a playoff spot, compete for their division, I think a lot of things went wrong. And I think a lot of assessment went wrong. And I'm not sure why that would be. Right? I like the combination of Staley and Moore. I think their defense was underrated last year. Now, maybe their defense could take a big step back, and that could be the reason they don't hit. But I do really have confidence that the offense is going to be something this year. And I especially believe that Tyler Shuck is going to be one of the bigger breakout quarterbacks of the year. So I do think that the Saints should be higher. But these other teams, I agree with where they're at on the tier. I just kind of wanted to provide some analysis with where I feel the teams are at. What do you guys think of that tier? Do you think there's any team that's out of line here? Which team do you think is the biggest sleeper out of the shallow sleepers? Do you think it's the Giants, the Saints, the Panthers? Do you think one of those teams could really break out this year? Let me know in the comments.
In this bracket, and you're like, oh, I called this. Everybody's going to pick one of these teams. Good for you. Wow, you think there's going to be a shocker out of the NFC South. Whoop-de-doo. You believe in John Harbaugh.
Made the playoffs.
Say it again?
Carolina made
exactly,
the playoffs.
but they would agreed. These
one
teams,
of those teams has to.
The Bucks could.
Except the Bucks, right.
These teams, again.
Interesting thing is, I'd have the Saints above the Bucks. Like, I would. And I know that's crazy based on last year and recent years, but I mean, I think we can see the writing on the wall with Tampa Bay. Like,
you can call them your sleeper, but there's not really a lot of oomph and gravitas. Okay. QB swap. Look.
Steelers QB swap? What? Huh?
I'm not here, and this show isn't here to relitigate Tony Fauci and the COVID pandemic. For a number of reasons, not the least of which is we're not stuck in a time warp from 5 years ago. But the moment I saw
what is this guy talking about?
Aaron Rodgers back on McAfee talking about vaccines, I was like, you know what? I've seen this movie before. He's a Steeler. He's doing these interviews. He's taking shots at different journalists, different networks, mixing in some other. I saw this movie. I didn't think it was that great. I didn't walk out, but I never would. If it could be on Prime for $2.99, not interested. You know what I might be interested in? Just complete the full Brett Favre career arc. Go to Minnesota. Meanwhile, you know what the Steelers feels like a Steelers quarterback? Kyler Murray. Retread with some options.
Oh, he wants them to swap quarterbacks. Okay.
You know what I think Kevin O'Connell would enjoy? A quarterback with the arm talent of Aaron Rodgers. Everyone wins. Just switch. Just switch. Rodgers to the Vikings where he wanted to, where he should have been to begin with. Kyler to the Steelers where he should have been to begin with.
That would be fascinating.
Everybody, it's something, at least something fresh and new. What could Kevin O'Connell do with a former top 5 pick who flamed out at his first stop. Yeah, we've seen the movie. They can be good, not great. We've seen it.
Okay. I will say, like, the Vikings and the Steelers, this is maybe where you would have them in a tier, but, like, I think there's a couple teams missing on this tier. Like, Tampa Bay, Washington. Like, Vikings and Pittsburgh are probably above those teams, I would say. Like, again, I think the Saints are probably above those teams too. Like, the Vikings, if they can get the quarterback thing right, they've got the coaching, they've got offensive skill. The defense is always pretty good because of Brian Flores. They're a sneaky potential playoff sneak-in wild card, I would say. Steelers are always a viable wild card. They have a lot of talent, veteran talent specifically. Their offense has improved their skill talent dramatically. I don't know if I believe in them because I don't believe in Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career. I don't know if I believe in Mike McCarthy in the year 2026. And the defense, they are getting old. Like, TJ Watt doesn't look like the same guy. There are reasons to fade the Steelers that I would defend. But there are a couple teams that haven't hit this tier list yet that I know he's going on about this QB swap and he probably wanted to keep them in the same tier by themselves just because. But like Tampa, Washington, there's some teams that I would think about here that haven't popped up yet, that I would say like the Vikings, the Steelers are alongside those teams, as they're not garbage, but they're more mediocre teams.
Okay, can I ask you?
Yeah.
So if you were Minnesota and that offer came on your table, you would definitely do it.
If I were Minnesota,
I would.
Do I think they have a higher upside with Aaron Rodgers than Kyler Murray?
No.
Yes.
No. Here's the thing. I wouldn't do it because if Kyler can turn his career around, he's still fairly young to the point where we already passed up, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins. Like, how many quarterbacks are we going to pass up? Aaron Rodgers would be at his best a 1-year fix. Maybe we go to the NFC divisional round. He plays really well. If Kyler Murray turns it around, Kyler Murray could still be a franchise quarterback. He's a former first overall pick. Maybe he was in the wrong place, the wrong time, the wrong infrastructure. Maybe you don't believe in Kyler Murray at all, but personally, I would rather take the swing on Kyler Murray than Aaron Rodgers in his last season. I just think there's more there, right?
And if I'm Pittsburgh, do I think I would take the lower upside this year from going from Kyler to Aaron for the lottery ticket of, and you know what? I'd be like, you got to throw in JJ. I get both of them. We're bringing your whole quarterback controversy over here, and we're going to see how it goes.
I definitely don't do that.
No, JJ.
Vikings are in a much better
throw
spot.
in both your
Vikings are in a much better spot from quarterback position standpoint because they've got rather a former first overall pick who can turn it around for nothing, or they've got a first round pick that they drafted for a reason, who's young, still developing, maybe needs to work on some things, could still be their guy. There is no way that the Steelers situation is better. Like, this just makes no sense. Like, honestly.
your quarterbacks.
The only reason I would trade Kyler Murray if I were the Vikings for Aaron Rodgers, the only reason I don't even know why I would do it for Aaron Rodgers. I would probably more likely to do it for a draft pick, because the only reason I would do it is if JJ looks really good. And then I'd be like, okay, we can move on from Kyler, give him to Pittsburgh. But I'd more than likely do it for like a second round pick rather than like, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers.
For Aaron, that's the deal. That's the trick. Take the over. Washington.
Take the over. So Cincinnati and Washington. We still don't have Tampa Bay showing up yet, which is weird. Cincinnati, I think, is too low. Washington, there's an argument they could be pretty good this year. Like, I think if Jaden can stay healthy, they have a decent offensive line. The infrastructure around him on offense obviously improved with Stephon Diggs, and I think Diggs will do them well from like an on-field leadership perspective, and I still think he can be a productive 2 or 3 in the league. Terry McLaurin looks back. Okonkwo at tight end gives him more athleticism. I'm intrigued by the new offensive system, how that will look with Jaden Daniels. Defensively, they are drastically more talented across the board. We've discussed this at length. I think Washington could be a sneaky playoff team, a sneaky wild card. It wouldn't be actually that surprising if the NFC East was a lot better this year than people think. But I think definitely Cincinnati is more likely to make the playoffs. They play a really weak schedule And they have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Their defense is improved. Like, you look at their schedule, guys, the Cincinnati schedule. Just with a really good offense, which they should likely have, they should win 10 games. So, like, I think Cincinnati should be tiers above Washington. Washington, to me, is a more alongside Minnesota, Pittsburgh, where it's like, I could see them making the playoffs, but more than likely, probably not. Like, that's where I view Washington. Well, I kind of think the Cincinnati Bengals are like a dark horse, where it's like, if they make the playoffs, okay, like, they could actually be a threat. If the Steelers or the Vikings or the Commanders make the playoffs, it's more like, maybe they win a game. That's it. Maybe.
And in Cincinnati, I'm not talking about in wins. I'm talking about just in their games this season. They're going to be good offenses. They're going to be bad defenses. There's going to be a lot of points. They're going to be
Okay, I thought he meant take the over in terms of wins.
entertaining games. I don't think either team is a legitimate contender, and I actually don't, right now in pencil, think either team's going to be in the playoffs. I think they'll score a lot of points.
Okay. If I were picking right now, I'd definitely lean Cincinnati to make the playoffs over Washington. I haven't really considered Washington making the playoffs. I'll have to think about that harder. It's a possibility, but I definitely feel like Cincinnati will probably be in my prediction, maybe like as the 6 or 7 seed.
QB prove it year. All for different reasons.
Okay, Texans are low, Chargers are low, in my opinion. Tampa with the Chargers and Texans is just wild. Like, again, Tampa would be closer to the Tampa belongs in the second last tier for me. I think they're closer to the bottom tier than they should be to the top tier, for sure. And I think they are, like, I don't even see these teams in the same regard at all. And even the label is totally weird. Like, one, Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback. Baker Mayfield is the reason the Bucs would be good if they are good. Period. The Chargers, Justin Herbert is the Chargers. The only guy that's really a QB prove-it year is CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud has all the makings of a Super Bowl caliber team. It comes down to, can CJ Stroud perform? Justin Herbert has carried the Chargers for the most part. Baker Mayfield, like, he's been a blessing to the Bucs since Tom Brady left. I don't see these quarterbacks in the same way, shape, or form at all. Like, QB prove-it year maybe in different regards. I don't really know what Baker's would be, just that he's on a contract here. Justin Herbert to win a playoff game, obviously. And then CJ Stroud to, like, prove that he's good or not. But I don't see any of these, like, CJ Stroud is drastically below Justin Herbert and Baker Mayfield for me. I would also say that Baker doesn't have to prove anything to me this year because his team isn't good. Like, I don't think the Bucs are very good at all. I think their secondary is trash. I think the head coach is terrible. I think the team has gotten a little bit worn out and old, and Vita Vea wants a trade, and Mike Evans is gone. Jamel Dean is gone. Their receiving core is overrated. Like, I don't know, man. I don't see the Bucs at all. And then the Chargers, I think, legitimately could be a really fun team because Mike McDaniel, the offensive line is back and healthy. Hampton could have a breakout year. Ladd McConkey could have a breakout year. Their defense has been really solid the last couple of years. The Chargers and the Texans, I think, are viable AFC contenders if things go right. If the Texans defense is terrifying and as dominant as it's been, along with CJ Stroud having better protection and Nico Collins and Tank Dell healthy with a real running back, that's a really terrifying team. The Chargers, if Mike McDaniel can click with Justin Herbert and Hampton, that is a very terrifying team because they'll have a really threatening offense. So to me, I don't see these teams in the same tier whatsoever. I don't think it's even a conversation. Next.
Baker doesn't have a contract. He said, I'm going to make him pay for it. No problem. Justin Herbert.
I'm kind of excited to see if Baker leaves the Bucs and where he would go and how much better he makes that team. Like, if I'm the Steelers, I am praying that Baker wants to leave the Bucs. Aaron Rodgers, retires, then I pick up Baker Mayfield. That would be beautiful if I were the Steelers.
If there wasn't, a lot of scrutiny on you already, thanks to, the latest candid camera video, there's a little more. Also, it's probably about time you know what? I'm not even going to ask you to win a playoff game. Can you just play well in a playoff game? Baby steps. Play well in a playoff game, win would be a bonus. And CJ Stroud, we just talked about, it being him being under more pressure than any quarterback in the league. Again, I expect all three of these teams next year to be quarterbacked by the same quarterbacks they're quarterbacked by this year. Baker, Herbert, CJ. It's still a bit of a proof.
I hope for Baker's sake, he's gone. And I could see CJ being somewhere else too, depending on what happens. But I think if the Texans are as good as I think they'll be, probably he will be their quarterback. And I think this is going to be Justin's best season of his career. So I think he'll definitely be the quarterback. No question.
For all three teams for different reasons. High school debate. Any of you guys do high school debate?
High school debate. I don't really understand the label, but we've got Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles. I think all three teams have immense potential. San Francisco, obviously, I'm very high on. The thing is with San Francisco, we're already seeing significant injuries, and that's going to have me adjusting where I put them in my power rankings. I'm going to have to move them a little bit lower with the Ricky Pearsall injury and then just guys getting hurt. But like, that's the Niners every year. Like, as long as they have Kyle Shanahan, they should be pretty damn good. I would have the Niners probably a tier above these teams, but I understand why they're here. There's hesitation, especially with all the injuries. Dallas Cowboys, I am very high on. I think Dallas could be an actual NFC contender if their defense plays like it can with the talent that they've added. Their offense is lights out. This could be a really big year for the Cowboys. Philly, I'm lower on. I certainly would not have the Eagles above the Chargers or the Texans. I think the Chargers and the Texans, I could see why you would put Dallas in a similar tier. I definitely think the Niners deserve to be above those teams or in the same conversation as those teams. But like Cincinnati below Tampa is questionable. You know, like Cincinnati, I could see in a similar tier to Dallas, where it's like, I could see where these teams could really break out and be very dangerous. Philly, again, I don't really see the ceiling for them this year. I think Jalen Hurts hinders them. I think losing A.J. Brown hinders them. I think that Saquon is not the same guy. I think the defense is really good, but I just don't believe in the offense, and I don't believe in the head coach. I think the Eagles are a talented team that just won't really be able to come together. That's just kind of my view on them. I would definitely have them closer to average than like a true contender. But that's my opinion. You know, like I'm higher on Dallas this year.
You guys, did you do it?
I did not. That wasn't really like.
Oh, you were
that's
too
like
cool.
the-
Did
What
you
was
do high
cool?
school debate?
I did not.
Heck yeah, he did.
Danny Parkins was state champion in it.
He was.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow. I did. You know, that's a lie. I did it one quarter or one semester.
Why?
whatever it was.
What happened?
I didn't. So, I'm glad you asked because that leads right to this.
Okay.
The idea behind high school debate is you go into a hot button topic and you don't know which side you're arguing until the moment of the debate. So you have to prepare the case for both sides.
Yeah.
And while obviously I'm about as well equipped to do that as anyone who's ever lived, I didn't feel like it was earnest. I was like, what is something I truly believe in? It was real topics, like real life things, like that you have so I didn't like it. Here's why I say it. I feel
I never did high school debate.
like you can make equally strong, very pro and very con arguments for these three teams.
I could see that. I still don't get the Texans and Chargers being below. I don't know.
Like, if you wanted to make an argument as to why any of these three teams this year they are going to the Super Bowl, there's evidence for it. You can make.
You think San Fran
Yes,
Super
I mean
Bowl? Super Bowl?
San Fran last year, their quarterback missed half the season. They were the most injured team in the league. They were playing for the 1 seed in the final game of the regular season, and they won a playoff game. There's the argument.
There's the biggest argument for San Francisco out of the three teams, for sure.
You know what I mean? Brock Purdy's good. The Shanahan's great.
Con side.
Right,
Everybody's
con
hurt.
side, the
Nobody knows
substation.
what's going on.
Substation.
Cowboys we've talked about a lot. Philadelphia, I've said, I think they could win 14 games. I think Sirianni could be fired at Thanksgiving. Like, you could make a very
I'm more on the Nick Sirianni side.
strong pro or con
But I see the positives.
argument for these teams. High variance teams, in my opinion.
Okay.
Did you watch Highlander as a kid?
No.
This is a lot better than last time, I will say. I do disagree with some of the placement, but
I didn't watch it either. I don't even know what it's about. I think there's a big leather jacket involved, but I do know the tagline. There can be only one. Jags Pats.
Okay. Not sure I agree with that statement, but I think it strongly suggests the Patriots are definitely a lot better than Jacksonville. I don't think there's much of an argument, to be honest. That being said, still some disrespect for the Patriots here from Nick. And, that's fine. Whatever. Mainstream media is going to mainstream media, but don't know how the Patriots are just not considered an elite contender. I mean, they have elite quarterback. They have an elite coaching staff. They have a top 10 defense. They improved their offensive line and their receiving core. They have a more difficult schedule, but not a really difficult schedule. And they have a fairly clear division. It's them and Buffalo and no one else. Like Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence plays good one year and bad the next. Liam Cohen has not proven himself like Mike Vrabel has. He's a good coach. And they just don't have as much talent as the Patriots. Like, Patriots have more, they have a better defense. They have probably, when you look at it, yeah, the Jags have a good offense, but they didn't really get better anywhere. And that's the thing that I hate about Jacksonville this offseason is they lost Devin Lloyd. They lost Travis Etienne. Did they try to fix those things? No. They're it's just a weird offseason from Jacksonville, while New England took a Super Bowl team and made it better on paper. So, yeah, whatever. I think it's still a thing where people don't want to, I don't know, they don't want to trust Drake May. I don't know, people watch the games from last year, stupid stuff. I think you could still make a lot of money on New England this year because for some reason people don't view Drake May as absolutely elite. And trust me, he's absolutely elite. It's just, I don't know, whatever. Trevor Lawrence is not absolutely elite.
It's not so much about Drake Trevor as much as is this. These are two teams last year that surprisingly won 13 games. Did the Pats win 14 games? You guys won 14 games.
We lost to the Steelers, Raiders, and Bills.
Yeah, you guys, and then in the Super Bowl by a lot.
And won.
Yeah. But two teams that smashed their win total. Both are, in my opinion, prime to different degrees, regression candidates, at least to a degree, have varying levels of confidence from the national media, and I think only one of them is going to be able to duplicate it.
Here's the thing about these tiers, though. There are probably multiple teams that New England should be above. I can think of one.
Success from last year. And I'm not even saying it's going to be the Jags. What I'm saying is I expect one of these two teams to be one of the teams that goes from in the playoffs to out.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It goes from 13.
See, I agree with Jacksonville, but I don't see it with the Patriots unless Drake May gets hurt. I don't see it.
14 wins to 8-9 wins. I don't think they're both going to. Maybe it might be. I don't think they're both going to be there. Sliding doors moment 2025.
See, again, there's one team I can think of that is way too high on this list, and there's clear bias in that. But the Denver Broncos and the Green Bay Packers. Again, I don't really know about the Packers being this high. The Packers, yes, Micah Parsons could be back on time, but I just don't trust the thin defensive line, the change in defensive coordinator. I feel like their defense is probably average at best. Their offensive line is also a little suspect. And I like Christian Watson. I like Tucker Kraft. Maybe Matthew Golden breaks out a bit. I think Jordan Love is a little overrated. I could see them being a 9, 10, 11 win team. I don't see them being a true contender. I just don't think their defense is truly there. And I don't know about their run game. I think Josh Jacobs is in for sort of a tough season. I think the Packers are closer to Philly, Cincinnati, talented but flawed teams, rather than a true contender. I think New England, San Francisco, to me, yeah, they have the injury stuff, but to me, if things go right, they have a higher ceiling than Green Bay. The Broncos, yes, I agree. They should be very high. But honestly, like, who is more reliable? You could make an argument. Like, Denver has a tougher division than New England. They don't have as good of a quarterback as New England. Sure, they have Sean Payton, and sure, they did add Jalen Waddle, but New England has Mike Vrabel, and they added A.J. Brown. Like, who do you think is actually more reliable to make the playoffs? If you're this high on Kansas City, right? Like, you have two teams in New England's division in the last tier. Who is more likely to make the playoffs? Denver or New England? Real question. Throwing it out there. Denver is talented. Are they that much more talented than New England? I don't know. Feels like if their defense does not perform like it has the last 2 years, they probably won't make the playoffs. Well, if New England's defense is just average, they still have a very good chance of being an elite offense, probably still make the playoffs because they have two teams in their division that stink. If you think the Chiefs are that good, which they're above Denver, just throwing it out there.
Midway through the third quarter of a late game in the 2025 season, the Green Bay Packers were 9-3-1. Micah Parsons was making Defensive Player of the Year case. He was wreaking havoc. They were beating the Denver Broncos. They were about to have, I think, be a half game out of the 1 seed in the NFC, beat Denver, and see where they can go. Micah tears his ACL. The Broncos come back and win that game. The Broncos end up taking off and getting the 1 seed. The Packers never win again all year. I do wonder how we don't look at those teams last year at all as having similar seasons. I wonder how close they actually were. When they played, they looked like very close. Yeah. And if that Micah Parsons false step trying to chase down Bo Nix, how much that'll...
I think Green Bay is worse as a roster, though, than they were last year.
Altered both of their seasons. The Broncos aren't the 1 seed, and you guys are. So many different things. Do the Packers end up winning the division instead of the Bears? All of it. Spot no longer guaranteed.
Okay, Kansas City, Baltimore, and Detroit. So Detroit is apparently 2 tiers better than the New England Patriots, 3 tiers better than Dallas and San Francisco. I just don't see that at all. I think Detroit and Dallas are very similar teams. I would have the Niners above Detroit. Baltimore and Kansas City, you know, this would be a great ranking if the year were 2024. Like, fair. It's 2026. Baltimore didn't make the playoffs last year. Detroit didn't make the playoffs last year. Kansas City didn't make the playoffs last year. 3 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year are better than the AFC teams that went to the AFC Championship. That's pretty crazy. Like, I would argue that the Chargers and the Texans might be better than the Chiefs, Lions, and Ravens, and that's 4 tiers. Like, that's pretty terrible. Now, Baltimore, I believe in to a pretty strong degree if Lamar is healthy. Kansas City, I don't think is very good. I think Kansas City is a borderline playoff team. Detroit, I think they'll likely be in the mix because they have a weak schedule and they have a very talented offense. Do I actually buy them to go to the Super Bowl? No. Like, I don't view any of these teams as actually a Super Bowl team. I think they all could make the playoffs. I don't think Kansas City can win their division. I would be somewhat surprised. I think they're more than likely to be a 10, 9, 11 win team than they are to be 13, 14 wins. That would surprise me, right? Like Baltimore, they could probably make it 13, 14 because they have a strong defense and Lamar Jackson. It could happen. But, like, is it likely? Probably not.
Wow.
I don't know.
The best team of the last decade and 2 of the best teams, you could argue 2 of the 3 best teams that haven't won a Super Bowl of the past decade, who the last half decade we just consider perennial playoff teams. They're in there.
Here's the thing though, like again, like the Niners. Why do people view the Ravens and the Lions in the way that they do, but they don't view the Niners in the same way? And the Niners have had more success than those teams. Like, it doesn't track.
There every year. Last year proved that spot's no longer guaranteed. This year they have to go out and prove last year was the fluke. I don't think all 3 of them are going to prove it. I think one of these 3 teams we're going to come after this year and be like, oh, okay.
I have 2 of the 3 right now, I would say, making the playoffs, and the one that I don't is the Chiefs.
Doesn't mean the window for their quarterback or their coach is over. The Ravens already got a new coach, but it means they have to open a new one. And so spot no longer guaranteed. Too much hype? Question mark.
The Bears. Really? The Bills. Okay, so, man, I don't want to lose it in this video. I'm very calm and peaceful right now. Okay, so the Bills I can see because the Bills have Josh Allen and they've been to the playoffs like every single year and they're always a contender. But the Bills are very flawed. Like, DJ Moore doesn't fix everything. Like, their defense is still not a real good defense. And besides DJ Moore, are you really scared of anyone on their offense? Are you even scared of DJ Moore? Like, James Cook's a great running back. They have a good run game. I could see the Bills being a Super Bowl team out of the AFC because they could put it together and they could get good defense at the right time. If their offense plays as well as it has, which it should, they should be a real contender. The Bears, I just don't get it. Honestly, I don't. Their defense is not good. Like, they don't have a pass rush. They can't stop the run. Their secondary, Kyler Gordon's already going down. Caleb Williams is super overrated. Their receiving core, you're relying on 2 receivers that have never really broken out yet. You've got Rome Odunze, who I don't think is very good, and Luther Burden, who I like, who has never really done anything in the NFL. Colson Loveland's a dog. I think he'll justify that this year. Their backfield is just average. They've got a great coach, and they've got a really good coaching tandem. A pretty good offensive line. Like, the Bears are not a real contender. I would have the Bears closer to teams like Cincinnati than I would that high on the list. Like, I just don't get the Bears hype. I don't get it at all. The Bills, yeah, I get it. I think they've rightfully put themselves in that conversation. But again, they're not a perfect team by any means. Like, I don't know if you should really be picking them to win the AFC or even win their division for that matter. So,
Bills, Bears. Bears, year 2, Ben Johnson. Caleb in year 3, the defending champion of one of the toughest divisions in football. Just gave Darnell Wright, the right tackle, all that money. Love the offense. Love Colston Loveland. Caleb, ask Liam Cohen. He's the only thing on NFL Network's website, which I think is just NFL.com these days. Regardless, the Bills, every conversation with them, it's not their fault. It's all anybody asks them about. Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. Did they get better from last year to this year? I don't know. Maybe. They fired their coach. They did add DJ Moore. Did they get better? I'm not sure. They're very high on the tiers. Too much hype? Question mark. KW, what do we worry about for the team that loses the Super Bowl?
Oh, the Super Bowl hangover. It's a real thing.
Yep. What was the real Super Bowl last year? The NFC Championship game. Rams.
That's
Super Bowl hangover question mark.
okay, that's good.
Really?
If that was the real Super Bowl,
Wow.
that's a
good.
concern.
That takes the pressure off New England.
This whole Myles Garrett's missing practice with
This whole Aaron Donald thing is kind of a distraction. Is Aaron Donald going to play, actually? Let me know in the comments what you think. But, I mean, if he does, I mean, their hype is going to go through the moon. It's almost going to be too much. I feel like it's going to be too much. Like, it's going to be the cherry on top that's not even needed. Like, you've already got a cherry there. The cherry was Myles Garrett. You don't need another cherry. 2 cherries is too much, bro.
This is a lower body something, is all Sean McVay's telling us. I saw the news today. Aaron Donald might come back. He also was like filming a documentary series or something. I didn't love that at all. Here's what I'm telling you. We had the Rams at number 1. Committee thought long and hard and said, you know who maybe should be number 1? We were like, who did win the Super Bowl last year? We kicked it around. We asked. We tried. We checked the internet.
they're very good.
Well, they won the NFC Championship. Seattle won the NFC Championship, so they won the Super Bowl.
One within a route.
Forgotten champs.
It's true.
Fellas, we do a 2-hour-a-day.
Here's the thing. I don't think Seattle should be above LA. That being said, could LA's hype get too much? Yes, definitely. I think it might have already. Seattle, I think, is going to be very good. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl again? No. Like, I think that's reserved for all-time quarterbacks and all-time dynasties back to back. I just don't see Seattle in that light. And that's where I'm disconnected from Seahawks fans. Obviously, they're hopeful that their team can do it. I'm sorry, but Sam Darnold is not Tom Brady, not Patrick Mahomes. He's not you're not the 70s Steelers or the 90s Cowboys. You were a very good team last year with a great defense. You've got a great coach, but I do see too many flaws, and I think losing Clint Kubiak will be significant. And I do think, playing in a very, very difficult division is going to wear on them. So I think Seattle will be in the playoffs. They'll be a contender. I think that they'll be taken out. But they deserve to be very high on this list. I think the Rams thing is funny, but truthfully, if I were to rank the teams, the Rams should be first. It's just that, yeah, their hype could be too much. I wouldn't argue against that.
A 5-day-a-week sports talk show. Since a week after the Super Bowl, how many Seahawks segments do you think we've done?
Not
They're
many.
very good. We haven't done enough.
Well, the thing is, Seattle didn't do anything this offseason, so there was nothing to really talk about with them.
Probably.
And
if we do, it's like, should we talk more about the Seahawks?
Yeah, and the Seahawks flew under Danny, to his credit, thought the
That's
Seahawks
right.
were awesome all year. But they flew under the radar nationally for a big portion of last season. They then won the Super Bowl, went right back under the radar. Even in our graphics, you can just sense our team begrudgingly including Darnold on them. It's like, well, they won the Super Bowl.
No, they're very
They're
good.
back atop the tiers. Brew.
We should do that tomorrow.
That's a long version. I apologize. I probably
That's good.
talked too much there.
There it is, guys. Thank you for watching, man. Let me know what you thought of Nick Wright's NFL tiers, his updated NFL tiers after a disastrous last time. I think these are slightly better, slightly more respectable, but there's many problems, and we went through them. Let me know your problems with Nick's tiers in the comment section below. Subscribe. Peace.